What is going on, guys? Jeff here, Corals Unlimited. Today we got a brand new video for you. We're going to be taking a look at the top 10 saltwater fish for a nano reef tank. But before we jump into any of that, if this is your first time being here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can be notified every single time that we upload a brand new video. Now let's jump into it. All right, guys, let's kick things off with number 10, and we have the purple firefish. These guys are considered easy to care for, peaceful with their temperament, carnivores with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe and require a minimum tank size of 20 gallons. They grow upwards of 3.5 inches, and this fish is a known jumper, so you want to make sure that you have a lid on your tank to keep them from ending up on the floor. We don't want any carpet surfing going on here. This fish is also one of the outliers on this top 10. A lot of the fish that you'll find are going to fit into a 15-gallon or less aquarium, but for those folks that have one of those larger nano reef tanks, this is definitely a fish to consider. If you are going to be adding fish to your tank, you want to make sure that you're following some type of stocking plan. I usually like to put the peaceful fish in first and then work towards those semi-aggressive to more aggressive species. I also consider size in that. And this being such a peaceful fish, they are very shy. You want to make sure that you're putting them in the tank first before other fish. Allows them to kind of set up, show up, and get a little bit more comfortable with their surroundings before you start throwing any other fish in the tank. Now, these guys can be a little bit harder to find than their just regular OG firefish counterparts, but still, nonetheless, a beautiful saltwater fish. Great addition to a nano reef tank. Check them out, the purple firefish. Coming in at number 9 on our top 10 saltwater fish for a nano reef tank, we have the clown goby. These guys are considered easy to care for, peaceful in their temperament, carnivore with their diet. I consider these fish to be reef safe with caution, but you might find some conflicting information out there on the interwebs. Minimum tank size is 10 gallons, and they grow upwards of 1.5 inches. Now, the reason that I consider this a reef safe with caution fish is, for the most part, they're going to do fine in a reef tank. They're not going to go after your inverts or anything like that, but it has been my experience in the past that this fish has a little bit of a sweet tooth for aquapora. Years ago, when I had a 220-gallon reef tank, it was very heavy with the acros, and on a whim, threw one of these little clown gobies in there, and it didn't take them very long to have a field day. It broke my heart. So learn from my mistakes. Don't do what Jeff does, and just put them in the tank. If you want to, if they're great little fish, they're cute. But if you want to enjoy them, make sure that you're putting them in a tank that doesn't have a ton of acros in it, because it will break your heart. Next up, we have the court jester goby. Now, these guys are considered moderate care level, peaceful with their temperament, omnivores with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe. Minimum tank size is 10 gallons, and they can grow upwards of 3 inches. Now, it has been my experience when it comes to care level, it has more to do with their diet requirements than pretty much anything else. And that's really no different with the court jester. They are a sand sifter, so they are going to be looking for little critters and uneaten food in the substrate. They're not like some of the other sifting gobies where they can just absolute bury corals, which is always a concern and something to take into consideration. But with the court jester goby, they're pretty passive. But again, smaller tank, looking for little critters in the substrate. This might be a situation where you have to supplement with copepods and make sure that there's enough food in there for this guy. One of the great things about this species is that they are often aquacultured. So if you can buy an aquacultured court jester goby, they're going to do much better in an aquarium as in comparison to a wild caught. So yes, moderate care level, but if you can get yourself one of those aquacultured ones, you're probably going to stack the deck in your favor and have pretty good success with this fish. So you get the little sand sifting aspect of the fish. Yeah, he's going to help clean that up a little bit, make it look nice and pretty, and not absolutely bury your corals. So that makes him a pretty good candidate for most reef tanks, not just nano reef tanks. Check him out, the court jester goby. Coming in at number 7 on our top 10 saltwater fish for a nano reef tank, we have the yellow-banded possum wrasse. These guys are considered easy to care for, peaceful with their temperament, carnivores with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe, require a minimum tank size of 15 gallons, and grow upwards of 3 inches. Now, side note, these guys will eat flatworms. So if you're dealing with the little red flatworms in your Nano Reef tank, these guys can actually help you out quite a bit with making sure that that population stays manageable. Now, there are flatworm treatments out there that will just wipe them out, but the downside to them is they can be, or I guess as the flatworms die, they can be toxic to fish. So some folks prefer the natural route. These guys are a great option for that. Check them out, the yellow-banded possum wrasse. Next up, we got Barnacle blennies. These guys are awesome, but they are super tiny. They are easy to care for, peaceful with their temperament, carnivores with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe, require a minimum tank size of 10 gallons, and can grow upwards of 2 inches. Couple little side notes on these guys. They have probably the most stunning red eye that I think I've ever seen on a fish. And a lot of folks will end up keeping this fish in colonies, so they'll have little small groups of them in their tank. And sometimes they'll take them, or they'll have like a barnacle cluster that they put in the tank, and they'll actually live in there and do their little barnacle blenny things. And they're some of the fastest fish I have ever seen. So when you put food in the tank, it's like lightning fast. They'll go up, get it, and then go back to their little hidey hole. Great fish, lots of character. Check them out, the Barnacle blenny. Coming in at number 5, we have the hyphen-banded goby. These guys are considered moderate care level, peaceful with their temperament, carnivore with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe, require a minimum tank size of 10 gallons, and grow upwards of 2 inches. These guys are known jumpers, so make sure that you put a lid on it. And they will pair with pistol shrimp. So for those of you out there that want to pair a goby up with a pistol shrimp, this is a great fish to do that with. I'm not a fan of pistol shrimp. I'm just going to throw that out there. And the reason being is that they can be a little bit on the disruptive side to a reef tank. And if that's your thing, that's what you're looking to put together in your tank, this guy will do the job. If you do end up picking out a pistol shrimp, I would recommend the candies. They're not quite as disruptive as the tigers. The tigers get much larger and can mess stuff up. Just letting you know. Great fish. Check them out. The hyphen-banded goby. Next up, we have the spotted croucher goby. These guys are considered easy to care for, peaceful with their temperament, carnivores with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe, require a minimum tank size of 30 gallons, and can grow upwards of 2 inches. Now, you want to make sure that you use caution when you're stocking a tank with this fish. 1, they are venomous, so keep that in mind. And 2, they are a little bit on the shy side, so you want to make sure that you're pairing them with other fish that are going to be peaceful and kind of not too aggressive with the feeding, because you want to make sure that this guy is getting plenty of food. Very interesting fish, great addition to a Nano Reef tank. Check them out, the spotted croucher goby. Next up on our top 10 saltwater fish for a Nano Reef tank, we have the white spotted dwarf goby. This is one of the latest reliefs from biota. So anytime that you can get yourself an aquacultured fish, that's definitely the way to go. These guys are considered easy to care for, peaceful in their temperament, omnivores with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe. Minimum tank size 10 gallons. So for those folks that are looking to put a very small tank together, great fish for that. And they are going to grow upwards of 1.5 inches. Just like most gobies, you want to make sure you got a lid on there so that you're not losing them to carpet surfing. Check them out, the white spotted dwarf goby. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have the Yasha goby. This is one of my personal favorites. They are considered easy to care for, peaceful in their temperament, carnivores with the diet. They are considered to be reef safe. The minimum tank size on this guy is 10 gallons, and they grow upwards of 2.5 inches. So a couple things. They will pair up with the pistol shrimp. Again, you want to go with the candy, not the tiger, but to each to their own. And they do like their own space. So you want to make sure that you're not crowding this guy in, because they can get, I wouldn't call it territorial, but they'll act like they're going to put on a little bit of a show if somebody gets a little too close to their spot. So keep that in mind. Beautiful fish. Love them. Great aquaculture. That's always the way to go with any fish. Obviously, check them out, the Yasha shrimp goby. And coming in at the number 1 spot on our top 10 saltwater fish for a Nano Reef tank, we have the Deepwater cave basslet. They are considered easy to care for, peaceful with their temperament, Carnivores with the diet, they are considered to be reef safe, require a minimum tank size of 15 gallons, and can grow upwards of 3.5 inches. Now, this was a fish that wasn't even remotely on my radar whatsoever, and I had a customer come into the store and ask for one of these. Got one in, and I fell in love with it. It is one of the most beautiful saltwater fish I have ever seen. A lot of personality, takes them a while to settle in, and the price point on them does hurt the piggy bank a little bit, but nonetheless, an absolute beautiful saltwater fish to enjoy in a nano reef tank. Check them out, the Deepwater Cave Basslet. Hey, if you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you. You are one of the salty ones, and that's why I make this content. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be in the know. And if you need anything for your reef tank, check my store out. There is a link in the description below. I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon. Take care.